What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and we're starting this one with a little bit of sad news, okay? Unfortunately, Tara had a little bit of an off-road excursion in her R34, and she came into contact with a pole. It's not the worst thing in the world, but you know, obviously it super sucks for Tara. She was definitely shaken up. Now the reason that this happened was because basically it had just rained, so the road was super slick, but these Federal RSR tyres that she has on the back of this car are just no good. I've been told by a bunch of people that basically they're no good unless they're really hot, and obviously in the rain, in the wet, Tara's just driving home and she got caught off guard basically with this really slippery corner coming out of an intersection, and just yeah, the car stepped out on her. No good, but luckily fully insured. So this thing is going to the best panel beater that we can find, still looking at the moment, and this thing will be looking as good as new very soon. But the car is here at the factory because I'm gonna be changing the tires on it, because we just don't like those tires. So I'll chuck those tires on some other rims and we'll burn them off at a Matsuri or something or other. On to some happier news. Today we're back working on Fevo, aka the fake Evo. So today we're starting to prep this thing for paint. I am so freaking pumped. Lots of little things to do. So I've gone ahead, done a little bit of shopping at Bunnings, and this is what we've bought. So we've got obviously sandpaper and stuff like that because we're going to be doing some bogging. But I went ahead and bought a new spray gun. So as this is a budget build, we're using a budget spray gun. None of that fancy gear. This is a $20 spray gun from Bunnings, and that's what we're going to be using to spray the roof, the hood. I must admit, this is a water accumulator that you do need when you spray. It stops all the moisture getting through the gun and into your paint. And this was also 20 bucks. So technically this is a $40 spray gun. This is pretty much what I use to spray the Datsun up there, and you can get really good results. Oh, hi Dan. Dan's currently doing work on his S13. It's just always going on in this factory. But budget build, budget gun. You guys will get to see the results from that. Sandpaper, everything good to go. So we're gonna start with the rear guards. I need to panel beat these guards basically to the shape that we actually want them. Make sure that there's no touching, rubbing or anything like that. I'm going to set the camber of the wheels as well, just make sure everything's all good. And then we'll go ahead, skim bog it and sand that down. We need to take the bonnet off because this bonnet has been repaired and we need to get that all ready for paint. I'll probably spray the underside of that black today. Just so that's all good. Need to chop a wee hole here as well for the air intake, and just a bunch of little things. The roof is just going to be sanded down and painted. So yeah, lots of work to be done. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I'm back on my old Sony camera. It has a wide angle lens, so as you can see, it's much wider than the Canon G7X Mark II. It was just bugging me because the other camera's like so up close all the time. So let me know what you guys think, whether the quality's changed or not. You'll be able to tell once the video's all together. But first things first, we'll jack the car up in the air, axle stands underneath, and let's get to work on the rear guards. You. So as you can see, we just did a little bit of panel work on this left-hand side panel. Shout out Dan, he's a bit better than I am when it comes to this stuff. But basically we just used like this is a part of the hoist that you put like the pads onto, like through here to get that nice shape of the lip, because we know we're gonna skim with body filler just to make it all nice and smooth. And also this arc around here just needed to be one nice smooth line. And that way, once we skim it with the body filler, it's going to come up super smooth and just look really good, and kind of, hopefully it should look almost factory spec. Obviously there's better tools you can use. Yeah, there are definitely better tools you can use. Dan's got a whole kit at home, but I forgot to tell him that this is what I'm doing today, so we're using a hammer and a part of a hoist. But all in the spirit of DIY, so all good. And it actually looks awesome. So we'll respray this whole rear panel, this rear quarter, up to here. This line here, so, and then we'll fade it in with the clear coat and stuff like that. So we'll basically obviously remove the rear bumper, tail lights and stuff like that. It's going to be good. So this rear quarter is pretty much, I reckon, done in terms of the hammer and dollying side of things. So we're going to go across and do the other side, and then we're going to lay down some skim bog, body filler, bog, whatever you want to call it. Okie dokie team, it's time for body filler. I don't really like this stuff much, mostly because I'm not good at it, but I'm going to give it a good go here. Luckily I've got Dan to help me out. He's rather good with it, but we're just doing quite a lot. Down the guards, so it shouldn't be too difficult. The guards are actually looking just really clean, so I shouldn't really need too much at all, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I laid down some bog. I'm not very good at it. You can see the lines in it. Dan's like, what are those lines? I'm like, well, I'm not very good at it, but we'll sand it out. That's just the first layer. We'll probably have to do another one. Got to sand the whole rear quarter down. But while I wait for it to dry, I'm going to whip the bonnet off the car, and we need to start working on that. It's all very exciting. I wouldn't say there's a huge amount of body work to do. I thought these guards would be a lot harder. I know they're not finished yet, but they're actually not so far from finished. And I just stood in the bog, which is great. So yeah, not a huge amount of work to do, which is really, really cool because I'm keen to spray this thing. I'm going to ring up the paint shop now and order the paint. Hopefully it's here by tomorrow. Time to give you guys a life update. Bonnet, been working on it. So had just heaps of like crack marks in the paint, so I've just been removing those, as well as the front of it being like cracked on the front. So closed that up, repaired it, and it's should come up sweet, which is cool. I'm going to spray the underside of it black, and then obviously the top's going to be silver. Remove these grates, cut a hole in here because it needs to be cut. The inside of that's going to be black, so that's going to be fun to try and pull off. And over here we have some primer on our guard, and it's looking absolutely fantastic, which I'm over the moon about because I was a little bit unsure about it, but it's coming out really nice. So I need to take the rear pods off, 400 grit those down. They should spray out pretty easily. It's all coming together, but I tell you what, bodywork is a tedious job. It takes a long time. I've been going at it all day, and this video is probably pretty short at the moment. This guard still needs to be sanded, it still needs to be primed and all that jazz, so we've still got a ways to go, but here's an exciting thing. I went to pick up our paint. So we have our paint here, RT paint code, which is our silver that we've got. You can find the paint code under the bonnet on the plate at the back of the engine bay, and then we've got thinners, 2 litres of that, and some 2K hardener as well. I already had clear, so the clear's over here. Right down here. So we've got everything we need now to make this whole car silver. I know a bunch of you guys wanted me to spray this car a different color, but it didn't really make sense to me given that it's a budget build, and you know, I want to keep costs down. The total cost of that paint and thinners and stuff was $193, which isn't bad. Also, I really like the silver. I believe the Evo's come out in this color as well, so it kind of makes sense to keep it this color. One thing I am looking for is a kinked boot still, so that we can have the inner lights on the boot. That's way more Evo style. And also a subscriber reached out to me and sent me, which is still on the way, a bigger lobster tip, but I'll tell you about that when that lands. Really stoked on that, so I think we're going to chuck that on because this one just is a little small for my liking, I think, 2.5 inch. So we're going to go bigger, because now that we've got the 280ZX one done and it's all like nice and massive, and Dan's got his, and size matters apparently, so yeah, just a little bit bigger would be nice. Alright, she's back on the ground. The guards look really nice. Definitely pretty happy with them. So tomorrow, I'm going to come back, final sand the primer, and then what we're going to do is spray these rear quarters first as like a test to see how it all goes, because I still need to continue prepping a couple things, like the bonnet needs a little bit more work. So that's all going to start with tomorrow. So right now, quickly before we end the video, I'm going to whip the tail lights out and just make sure we're all prepared. But this thing looks dope. And I'll also spray the rear pods tomorrow as well. Yeah, so it's going to be man, I'm pumped. Those guards look wicked. Heaps of clearance as well, which is nice. And also Woz is here. Hi Woz. You, always. Alright, let's whip these tail lights out. I need to clean them as well, because someone tinted them. See this? The whole thing used to be tinted, but we've got acetone that just rubs off, which is nice. Got to keep that clean look. We don't need no tinted tail lights. As you can see, this thing has had a hit in the corner before, which is to be expected with a car of this caliber. But they actually did an alright job of fixing it, because you couldn't really tell. But now that we're going to be painting the rear quarter, it means you're going to be able to tell even less. Stoked. That is us for tonight, guys, or today, or this morning, or whatever you want to call it. Hopefully by the end of this week, this car is all one color, which will be like amazing. But you know, it's coming along super nicely. I think this thing just looks so damn cool. But yeah, I can't wait to see it all one color and looking super tidy. Of course, we'll get Dan's detailing on to finish the final product once it's all back together. Also, just take a look at this thing with no bonnet on it. Looks so Fast and the Furious 1 spec. I kind of like it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, hit that like button if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video where we lay down some paint. Peace.